Of Redstor, Gareth Case. Come on up, Gareth.
Thank you, Andra. Can everyone hear me okay? Sound good? Yeah? Excellent. So firstly, thank you to Andra and Terry for giving me the stage today and to give you 10 or 15 minutes on the Redstor business and what we're all about. We've been working with Marketopia now for a little over 4 weeks. And this is really our first foray into the US market. So we're a UK headquartered data management and protection business. And we've got a few partners in the US which we've acquired over the last couple of years. There's seen some really healthy growth. But the reason I'm really here this week is to spend some time with Andra and her team, certainly at the early part of next week, to grow a super aggressive campaign and marketing plan for next year to really launch the Redstor business into the US market. Why are we doing that? Well, we think we've built the new industry standard in data management and protection. And we're doing it in a much smarter way. I'm going to run through a little bit of competitive positioning a little later in the presentation so you can see where we'd fit in terms of your portfolio of vendors. But to frame the conversation, I thought it's probably worth just talking around some challenges that we're seeing in the marketplace today. First one is around data fragmentation, and I'm sure you guys see this day in, day out. The days of data being just on-prem are long gone. Departments within businesses taking on SaaS applications, and that data growing exponentially within those organizations and becoming more disparate. We're seeing a huge amount of data sprawl. And actually being able to get hold of that data and protect it all from one place becomes increasingly more difficult. We've also got cybersecurity as an ongoing threat. And I think, I can't remember the last time I turned the news on without seeing the latest ransomware attack. And that's not just happening at enterprise level now. We're seeing ransomware attacks happening at all different sizes of business. It's a growing challenge. I think I read some stats the other day to say that the average ransom 3 years ago was around $5,000, and today it's nearer $200,000. And there's more than 4,000 ransomware attacks reported every day just in the US market. So this is something that's not going away. We've also got, as a result of COVID, some huge supply chain issues that are going on at the moment. Can I just see a raise of hands of anyone that's struggled getting hold of chips or boxes or appliances or whatever else it may be? Right, this is going on all over the place at the moment. And a lot of these things lead, unfortunately, to downtime. And if you believe what Gartner say, which I think is a little bit on the high side, Gartner would predict that $4,300 per minute is the cost of downtime as an average across organizations. So, it's not just the financial damage that it's doing to businesses, but it's also the reputational and brand impact as well. And then we've got the ongoing issues around compliance, from GDPR, which we've seen here and also in the UK market, and other regulations around the world in terms of what data have you got, what's classified, how do you classify it, and how do you see what you've got. So these are some of the challenges that we've seen in the marketplace. And I just want to run through now really what we've done to address some of those challenges. So this may be a little small for the people at the back, but essentially this is the Redstor platform. So we come from a heritage of backup and recovery. We're an 18-year-old business, and over the last 2 years we have completely redesigned, redeveloped and re-architected our platform to provide what we believe to be the new industry standard for data management and protection, specifically built for MSPs. On top of the backup and recovery capability that we were kind of born out of, we've added disaster recovery capability, the ability to archive data from expensive on-site storage, but not losing that rapid recovery time. And where we really came from on the left-hand side are around specific endpoints, so desktops, laptops, servers, VMs, Oracle and SQL databases. But as I said around the data fragmentation piece, what we've seen in our customer base and with the MSPs is there's a growing shift towards these SaaS applications, and more so a shift towards cloud-native infrastructure, so things like Kubernetes on AWS and Azure. So we're seeing all these different data pools essentially being created. On the right-hand side, we've got sort of storage locations. So in a typical, say, Veeam or Datto scenario, you'd be effectively storing the data to an on-site appliance and recovering it from that appliance. What Redstor does is we decouple our software from the storage platform and enable you to protect data from and to any of the locations on the right-hand side. So whether it's a Redstor data center, your own data center, Azure, AWS, Google Cloud, you can essentially put your customers' data within those platforms and recover it back to any of those platforms in a click of a button. What's different about the way we've built our product is that actually we've got all of that coverage on the left-hand side and all the recovery capability on the right-hand side, all through a single interface and a single application. And it's built on a single code base as well. What that means is when we've got a new feature to roll out to our MSPs, we can click a button and all of you guys get access to that immediately. There's no upgrades, no maintenance, no boxes that need to be replaced. We've also done another couple of things which differentiate us from an IP perspective. So we've got a little tool in our armory called Instant Data. Now, the reason that cloud-based backup and recovery has never been hugely successful in the past is down to recovery times. Yeah? MSPs like boxes on site because they can recover essentially very quickly. Instant data is effectively, we talk about it as the kind of Netflix of data protection. So you'd never download all 8 series of Breaking Bad to watch, series 5, episode 3. You'd stream that through your Netflix box in the same way that you would with Spotify and all the other applications that we use in our home lives. With Redstor, we've developed a similar sort of technology. So it's user-driven recovery. So when your customers has an outage, they essentially get a link sent to them by you. They click the link and all of their files appear as if they're actually there, ready to use. The minute they click on one of those files, it instantly recovers that file and prioritizes it over the rest of the backup, while the rest of the backup happens in the background. What that means is that we can deliver on-site appliance recovery times, but with all the upside of a cloud-based model. We've also rolled out something new this year. We've put some artificial intelligence into the product, and we've launched malware detection, specifically to combat that ransomware risk. So what our malware detection tool does, for the price of a cup of coffee per device, so you think about your customers' critical servers and their critical data, for $6 per server or per endpoint, you can deploy our malware detection tool, which essentially scans at the point of backup all of the files on there and brings to the surface any that we deem suspicious. And we've scanned, I think, 23 million files over the last 6 weeks since we've rolled this out, and there's not been one single recovery that's taken place with an infected file in it. It also benefits then from community insights. So what we do is we look at whenever there's a malicious file that's been brought to the surface via this tool, it will then look for that same file across all of our other customers globally. And we've got about 40,000 customers at the moment and across tens of millions of files. And it will then show that end user customer that they've potentially got a malicious file within their set. So that's what we bought, that's what we developed. And as I said, it's all from one interface. So from a management overhead perspective, the days of managing boxes, installing, upgrading, and trying to get hold of a new one when that box is full up and not having the decision to make about do I delete data or do I just tell the customer that we need to wait another 6 weeks for the box to arrive, all of that stuff disappears. And the other point, I guess, here is it's built for multi-tenancy. So it's been built with the MSP in mind. You can manage all of your customers from within this one window. And there it is for those that didn't believe that we built it. So this is just one of the kind of dashboards that comes out of the box, and we've got tons of customizable dashboards. But what you'll see here is a very high-level overview. But down the left-hand side, you've got all those data sources. So when we talk into MSPs, we're talking about opening up new revenue streams for you to go and acquire more revenue from your customers. So if you are a Datto MSP or a Veeam MSP, you're limited to the amount of data you can protect based on the sources that they can protect. So with Redstor, we've just rolled out Kubernetes, we've rolled out Zero, and we've rolled out Salesforce. In Q1 of next year, we roll out Microsoft Dynamics CRM, Workday, Intuit QuickBooks, and we're also working on a Sage connector as well. So what that means for you as an MSP community is that you can go after new revenue streams that aren't currently there for you today. And there's all sorts of stuff on this dashboard from successful backups, unsuccessful backups, which machines or SaaS applications you're backing up and the growth rates across those. And then you'll see in the bottom left-hand corner, we've identified 10 suspicious files there. So you can click into those, and those files automatically get quarantined so that they don't get put back into the backup set. In terms of some competitive positioning, we typically look at our competitors through 2 different lenses. We've got the guys on the right who I'd describe, rightly or wrongly, as the kind of legacy infrastructure on-prem type vendors that are moving towards a SaaS and cloud-native world, mainly through acquisition. We've seen that with Datto acquiring Backupify. We've seen it with Veeam acquiring Karsten last year to give that Kubernetes capability. And then on the left-hand side, you've got what we class as the more kind of cloud-based or modern architecture type vendors. Can I just see a show of hands? Who's using any of the vendors on the right-hand side? ArcServe, Datto, Veeam? Quite a few. And on the left-hand side, Skykick, Keepit, AvePoint and Acronis. Not quite so many on that side. So, essentially what we're seeing there, the newer players to market, the Skykicks and the Keepits, have come in for a specific product. Skykick came in with Microsoft 365 protection, and what they haven't done is actually gone back and managed some of that on-site infrastructure or been able to provide that capability. And the guys on the right, as I said, are doing a lot of this by acquisition. So, where we come in, we're 100% channel focused. That's one of our kind of uniques. So there never be a scenario where we're talking to an end user and you're also talking to an end user. So we're fully supportive of that 100% channel model. We're hardware free, so it's all delivered from the cloud. So there's no need for that hardware and the issues that's causing at the moment within the market. And you can see some of the other features on there against some of our key competitors. It's not just about the IP, and listening to Terry talk earlier and Andrew about the support that Marketopia can offer, we're doing a similar thing for our MSPs as well, and we'll be working in conjunction with Marketopia to deliver a through partner marketing model as we move into next year. But essentially today I've got a team of resources that deliver marketing resource to you as an MSP community. They can fire up webinars or campaigns. We've got a ton of stuff we can do down the left-hand side to support you and help you grow your businesses. And on the right-hand side, we've got a few specific tools. So we have a campaign toolkit. It's effectively an online toolkit with bundled end-user campaign assets that you guys can download if you've got some marketing resource, co-brand and execute on your own behalf. We can also help you do some of that stuff with our resource as well. And we've got some really sophisticated sales enablement tools, which we call Redbook. So again, it's a place where you can go and download and have all the things you'd need to go and position Redbook to a Redstor to an end user customer. And then finally, last week we launched Red Tribe, which is a new partner community, essentially getting feedback from MSPs like yourself on our product roadmap, where we're heading as a business, and really feeding into our strategy moving forwards. So in summary, just to wrap up, I know I only had 10 or 15 minutes. The first thing really to take is the fact that we've got the broadest coverage of data sources that we can protect within our platform of any vendor in the market. And not only have we got the broadest coverage, we've also got feature parity around our 365, Google Workspace, and our on-prem infrastructure data protection offerings. I've touched on it already, but no hardware. What does that mean? It means it reduces your management overhead, and it reduces the risk of not being able to get hold of boxes during the supply chain issue that we've got at the moment. It gives your customers a protection from ransomware with our AI-powered ransomware detection tool. And that's really, really important at the moment. We're seeing, as I said earlier, a huge rise in that. Instant recoveries. I think most backup vendors talk about instant recoveries, but we've got a more innovative way of doing this. And not only can we recover data using instant data, which is that streaming technology, we can also move data around. So if you've got a ton of data in an Azure environment, we can pull it out using instant data and put it into an AWS environment. Or we could pull a ton of data out of Microsoft 365 and squirt it back into Google Workspace, for example. It's been built specifically with you in mind as an audience. So this isn't an end user product that's been retrofitted for a channel model. This has been built from the ground up to service MSPs and your customers. And I guess the last point within that bit there is, the margin opportunity. With a hardware-based solution, you're limited to the amount of margin you can make. With most of the vendors that we come up against, there's a published end-user price. We don't publish any end-user pricing. All we publish is a buy price from us for the partner. So that puts the margin in your hands. We've got a partner in the US who we signed in December 2019. They're now doing $45,000 of MRR just with Redstor, growing from, I think they started at about 3,500. And they've started to now sell a lot of our additional services. They've rolled out the malware detection tool across 120 of their most critical servers. They've sold 13,000 seats of Microsoft 365, and we're seeing some real growth come from those guys. And on certain parts of our product range, they're making over 200% margin. The malware detection tool buying at $6 and selling at $18 to their end user customers. So there's a lot of potential in there. And then finally, we've got these really cool sales and marketing tools that I'd love to show you, but we don't have time for it today. But essentially what we'll be launching in end of February, beginning of March, as part of our real launch into the US market, are some AI-powered sales enablement tools built into our application. So what this will do essentially is look at all of your customers. It will identify when you're backing up on-premise data within a customer, and it will also identify when one of those customers is using another application that we can help protect. So it will come back to you and say, we see customer A over here has got a Microsoft 365 and a Salesforce environment. Would you like to protect that data as well? And from the app, you can provision the backup of that data, but you'll also be able to launch a marketing campaign with a hyper-personalized message directly into those end-user customers directly from the app. So we're starting to build a lot more smarts from a sales and marketing perspective directly into our application. And this is the last slide. So seeing is really believing. I'd love all of you to go away today and just have a play around with our technology. I'd love to offer you all a 30-day free trial. So get yourself onto redstor.com/ITnation, and I'd love to get some feedback. The final point on that, we can get you set up and you can get protecting your customers in under 15 minutes. And I don't think there's another vendor out there that can do that. So put us to the test, fill the form in on the website, and we'll be in touch shortly. Any questions?
Thank you, Gareth. And if you do have questions, Gareth will be around not only today, but this entire week. So let's show him some love.
Thank you.